And we're back, y'all. Episode 10, I believe it is. I think it's better that I spread these little podcasts out in time because a lot of stories happen in those times that take a break. So yeah, I think we're gonna start doing that. It's maybe once a month or something. I'm not too sure yet, but yeah, here we are. Bring it to the table. I have a lot that had happened since my last episode that I made with you guys. Um, Yeah, where do I even start, man? Shoot. Just whirlwinds of events that just make life crazy. Make life interesting, I guess, if you could say the least. Um, but yeah, I guess we can get into I mean, my main topic right now is just me dealing with uh bacterial meningitis. And it all started with me training for my last fight that I just had on the 27th. So it was maybe like 2 weeks ago, just a little over 2 weeks ago. And as I was preparing for that fight, um, a lot of things had happened. Um, I was still dealing with an open cut in my shin here for that fight. I had re-rolled my ankle for like the fifth time in the past like 2 months or something like that. I just keep this left ankle is just so weak, and it all started when I was like younger as a kid skateboarding. I would this left ankle just because I'm left foot forward. Any kick flips and everything, landing with the skateboard on top of your ankle and then landing and just rolling my ankles really bad. I remember one specific time I was back home in Crestline, California at the skate park, and they have a pyramid with a hubba down the side, like a ledge going down on the pyramid. And the flat part of the pyramid, the top part, it's maybe 5.5 feet. So it's like, so as soon as you get up, boom, you have to set and then hit it. Like there's no time to think, no time to adjust. You just boom, boom, boom. And I remember trying to do a tail slide to fakie. And when I slid out, my foot somehow got away from the board and the board got on top of my foot and just fucking crushed my ankle. And ever since then it's been really really bad and really weak. And again with this one, I was sparring with a foreigner. uh, his name was Leo from Sweden, but his nationality, what is it, he's Chilean but from Sweden. So yeah, I think his father migrated to Sweden from Chile, and then met a Swedish woman there or whatnot. But yeah, that don't matter at all. So uh, we were sparring, right? We're training, and I think he thought he like leg kicked me or something, and messed up my ankle, but that was not the case at all. I was just bouncing around, and the ring at the gym that I train at, the mat is very soft. It's squishy, so you can like, it's weird, it's got like blankets underneath it or some shit. And yeah, I rolled my ankle, and it was just excruciating pain all over again and again. 2 days before my fight. 2 days before my fight. Like, of course, right? It's always that way. For some reason, this left ankle just wants me to give up towards towards fight day. Um, yeah, when that happened, the owner of the gym, I don't know what he was thinking. I think he thought that I had like spasms in my calf, because he kept saying like, "Oh, no oxygen, your leg, no oxygen," and kept trying to like stretch my leg and like bend my foot to like release pain from my calf. But he was fucking so painful because he was moving my ankle in the way that it doesn't feel good. And then he realized, I told him, "No, no, not my calf, my ankle." And then he steamed my ankle, and then it just started swelling, boom, 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 like that, all over again. The same story. And then he kind of realized, like, oh, and I was like, yeah, fucking guy. um, so that had happened, and then I had to rest. And maybe 2 days before that, I got to get into this because I think it has a lot to do with how I got sick. Um, I think they thought that I wasn't running during training my past few fights. because I wouldn't go there and then run. I would run in the morning, do my own running, do my own workouts, and then go there and train. And they told me like you need to start running. You need to start running. And I was like, I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to argue. And I was like, okay. And then one of the fighters from the gym, he was like, here, put this jacket on. And it's like a sweat jacket, it's like thick plastic. And then it's hot, so you just trap all this sweat inside your jacket, and it gets a bit unbearable, especially when it's like, what is it, almost 90 degrees outside with 100% humidity. Like it's really hot in that jacket, especially just jogging. Um, and then I had did that. I did maybe 5K run with the jacket on, and then finished training. But after that day, this is maybe 1 day or 2 days before my sparring ankle accident. Um, when I got to the gym and started training and working out, I felt very lightheaded, like very like dehydrated. Basically, I could feel it because I've dealt with dehydration before. Um, I had fought in America, and I had a fight, and I had to cut a lot of weight, suck a lot of water out of me, and then fight the same day, uh, which was definitely not smart because I sucked a lot of water out of me on the same day that I was supposed to fight, and I lost a lot of water, out of my body. And then after that fight in America, I remember not being able to drive. I had cold sweats. I was shivering. I was breaking down. I couldn't even drive myself home all the way. I had to like call my family to pick me up and drive me back home because I was just so dehydrated. I was going into like a shock, from just dehydration, and that has happened to me already. So I kind of had that same feeling when I finished training that day. I ran with the jacket on. I felt like very like fatigued and very like, oh, like a minor headache, and I know it's because I was drying myself out. And like a dumbass, when I go to the gym and do my fitness workouts with the kettlebells and everything, I drink I drink hot Americanos while I'm training. And the reason being, and it's not for like people say, oh, like you're trying to dry yourself out doing that. I wasn't looking at it that way. I look at it as like my pre-workouts, like it keeps me like energized and keeps me going through my workouts. Um, but yes, it does. Coffee does dry you out on top of the sweating that I was doing for my fitness training and whatnot. So that's also not a good idea. So I was very low in hydration, I think already, and then the fact that I run and I train every day, that I just continued to sweat. So I wasn't allowing my body to rehydrate properly, and I would just wake up and keep going after it, and not thinking about how dehydrated I was getting. Um, and along that time, I ended up getting like a sty in my eye, and I don't know what had caused the sty. I had got to look into like having where styes come from, how you attract them, where it comes from, and all that. I still need to look into that. But yeah, I ended up getting a sty, which I still have in my left side. It it started affecting me a little bit, just my eyesight. I couldn't really see. It just felt like a big ball over my eye, and it was just very uncomfortable. And come to my fight day, I have an opponent, and I guess something happened with the guy or whatever, and he didn't show up, or he couldn't fight or something like that, right? So they had a gym, or they had like it at the stadium. They were basically telling me like, you're probably not gonna fight. We don't have an opponent for you. And I was like, fuck, well, whatever. And then some kid, like they were trying to get people to get me to fight, or trying to find people for me to fight on short notice. And there was a fighter there, a younger fighter, who was willing to fight. And I was like, fuck yeah, man, like thank you, bro, appreciate it. And he was a younger fighter. um I probably had maybe 5 kilos on him, poor guy. But he was game to fight. He was fast, and he had a nasty right kick. So we get into it, and we're fighting. We go 2 rounds. I just hit him with the left punch. I mean, power in my left hand. He didn't want none of that. So he went down in the second round. I ended up winning the fight, but I think what had caused my whole meningitis uh, issue was with these gloves that we're fighting in. There's maybe one pair, maybe four pairs of boxing gloves for this event. So we're all filtering out. There's maybe 10 fights, 9 fights. So we're filtering out with these gloves, right? Everybody's bacteria. We're swapping sweat and everything and all that shit. So what actually who had told me was my buddy's girlfriend. She had mentioned it. She's like, "Well, didn't you have your sty on your eye before you fought?" And I was like, "Yeah, I had it." She's just like, "You probably got it from fighting and rubbing sweat and him like getting into your eye, the punches of everybody's sweat from the fight." I was fight number what, 5 or 6, so there was already like 4 fights ahead of me that they've used those gloves. So just the bacteria. That's why bacterial meningitis. I think how it really crept in is exactly what my friend's girlfriend said. It was like all the punching and him rubbing his head and sweat into my eye. That caused the bacteria to seep into my body, and then lo and behold, I got the infection or the virus or whatever it was. And it really made a lot of sense. And I was like, you know what, you're right. And then also when I went to see the doctor after a while, even the doctor mentioned, she's like, did you have any fights or anything recently? Because we're getting a lot of, currently we're getting a lot of cases of meningitis coming from like fighters and gyms and stuff. And I didn't want to say yes at first because they do frown upon people making money, out here. If you don't have the proper documents to make money out here, and I don't know how they look at it with Muay Thai. Also, I'm not sure. So I kind of stayed quiet, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? I did fight. I did fight on the 27th." And she was like, "Okay." And then, yeah, that's basically how I got the meningitis. And let me put that meningitis thing on hold for a second. Um, we can go back to my fight that I had won against the younger opponent. I felt good, because I went in there um, already injured and already messed up. My ankle was not the best again. I had the sty on my eye, which kind of affected me a little bit because my sight, I couldn't really see out of the left eye. And it was difficult for me already. And then I was proud that I won, very proud of myself that I pushed through it all, through all the pain and all the, mishaps. I still went in there and I fought my heart out, and I ended up winning. So that felt very good. It was just a really good high for me, a really good turnaround, and made me like proud of myself. And that night, I get back home. I'm riding my bike home, and it's probably like maybe midnight, almost 1 a.m. And still a little hard. This happened a while ago. um, when I was riding home, I took the bypass road, which is basically like a highway strip. Um, I couldn't tell you how long it is. Probably maybe like 10 miles, 10-mile long strip, you know, of a highway road, and it's open road because it's late at night, right? So there's no cars really on the road, and I'm riding my bike on the main road, and all I hear is the Dek Wen. And Dek Wen here in Thailand is younger groups of kids who ride motorbikes that are very loud and go very, very fast. That they modify everything up to make it swooped up, and they just go on the streets. And they race. They have races, but a lot of times the kids just like to get on their bikes. Everybody get on their bikes and just pin it. And so mind you, I'm riding home, and then these kids are flying by. And at first, I'm just seeing one, two, like going, meow, 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 going by me. And I'm seeing these kids, and my initial reaction is just like, fuck, these kids are crazy, like just flying so fast, right? Two or three pass by me, and when the third passes me, I think it was, um, all I hear is scraping behind me, like a bike scraping, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I pull over and I look back behind me, and I just see a fucking bike just crumbling, and right behind the bike, I see a young guy, just with his face just sliding across the road like lifeless, and just tumbling and just looking lifeless, and I don't know how fast he was going, because all I saw was the bike scraping and him rolling. But the way that the kid rolled and the way the bike was sliding, he was going very, very fast. And what what affected me a lot was that that kid was, I mean, if he's still alive today, he's very, 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 very lucky, because what I had seen was a lifeless body just getting tossed across the highway, and my initial reaction was to like want to stop and help him, but there's like, I mentioned this before, I knew there was really nothing I could do, because I'm a foreigner, I can't communicate with him really. uh, and a lot of times people say that a lot of the people that I've told the story to told me I did the right thing by not stopping, because had I stopped to help the guy, there's a lot of stories here in Thailand where people would put the blame on the other person who's there with him. They they'll make up a story saying, "Oh, well, he's the one that caused it. He caused it. That's why he's here with this guy." So I could have gotten myself in a lot of trouble, even though I was just trying to help the kid. And that broke my heart. That broke my heart, because I wanted to stop and help him and console him. Rather, he had like a few breaths left. I just wanted to like console him, hug him, and I don't even know this guy. Like I'm, not, like I'm saying, I'm just going home from my fight. And yeah, and what affected me even more is like all the crowd that he was with, the friends that he was with, riding these bikes. They stopped ahead. They went past him and stopped ahead of ways, and and they just kept going. Nobody stopped and went back for him and everything, and that really makes me feel very uncomfortable, because I've told myself maybe twice that I told myself I'll never, when I feel something that I should do something, I'm gonna do it. I should do it, especially when it comes to something like that. And and I didn't, man. And I think I've forgiven myself for sure, and I know God knows my intent, what I really wished, because I prayed the whole way. After that, I just prayed, God, please be with him and his family, and you know, if he can survive, allow him just to reflect on what he's done, because this is Thailand, man. This kid didn't. My buddy Jay had told me this little saying for people who ride bikes. It's dress for the slide and not for the ride. So basically, like when you're riding a bike, you have to be dressed prepared to slide. Long arm jacket, um, pants covering your body and everything like that. But again, this is Thailand, and these are young kids. I'm not too sure if Homeboy was wearing flip flop sandals or something, but I'm sure he was. But what I do remember is him wearing shorts and just a t-shirt, and just scraping his face across the road. And yeah, so it was pretty bad for him. Um, and just dealing with that right after winning really, like, really put a number on me, because I felt so good about myself, and then I just seen something so tragic right after, and it was just, and I know what it meant. I know what the sign was from God. Is just like, you get angry at yourself, Steve. You get angry at the situations that you're in, but you have to remember that you are still blessed, no matter how hard you think your life is going. You are still blessed. If you can wake up every day and you can go take a shower, you could put food in your stomach, and you can got a place to stay, place to sleep. For crying out loud, I have Wi-Fi. I'm blessed, and I had to rewire myself to think like Stop taking advantage of not taking advantage of everything, but taking it for granted. Stop taking everything for granted, you know, and learn to be happy because your life could be gone anytime, any second, and and that's what had happened to me, and it kind of it shook me up, it shook me up. I learned to be more grateful, very happy to be where I'm at, and yeah, it just was left that way, and you don't even hear about it on the news. You don't hear nothing, and it's tough, man. The roads are very mean out here, very real. Um, this has got to be maybe the fourth tragic accident that I've seen. I've seen some very very bad accidents here, and it just doesn't get any easier. I told my best friend too, Ian, that it was so hard. It was so hard to. It was so hard to. It was so hard to look at him scraping and sliding like that, but it was so hard to take my eyes off him as well. It was so hard to look at him, and it was so hard to look away. Like it froze me in there, and yeah, it was just like like life made me look at it, made me watch it, um yeah, and that just really did a number on me. I went home and I just prayed to God and thanked him and everything, and just started to not learning, but starting to be very grateful for what I have. Be grateful for what we have, it's hard, but it could be worse. Could have been on that bike sliding right next to him, he could have ran into me. Had I slowed down a little bit more when they were flying by me, his bike might have hit mine. You know, had I not stopped to get gas, on the way home, I would have never been near that. But things all aligned, and I had to see what I had to see, and things it happened, and shook me up. But I understood. I understood what the assignment was, and God just telling me, man, be grateful. Be grateful because I can take you out of here any second, bro. If you're not grateful, we can arrange something for you if you're not grateful. And that's when I just knew I have to be more grateful for everything and stop complaining, you know. And yeah, that was very that was a big that was a big point I wanted to point out because I'm an emotionally, and I'm not trying to be cocky or arrogant either, but like I'm very emotionally intelligent. My spirit, emotions, I understand I can feel what people go through. I don't understand anything. I don't understand people without them telling me, but I can feel their soul. I can feel their spirit. I can feel when you're a good person, a genuine person, or I can feel when you're a fucking conniving, little hidden agenda type of person. I can sense that. I can feel that, and so emotionally, it shook me up. You know, and I go home. I pray. I rest. I continue. I rest for about a week from Muay Thai, but still trying to go to the gym and everything. But mind you, you got to remember too. I'm still feeling those little minor headaches and from the dehydration that I put myself through prior to the fight. So we're moving on now from that story, and what had happened with me was after the next few days, it just this meningitis slowly started like getting worse and worse on me, and I wasn't really paying attention to uh, it getting worse. I was It started with just these headaches, right? Little headaches and like pressure on my temples, like it like hurt. Like sunlight irritated me. I felt like a bit of like confusion, like just like not feeling right, just feel not feeling myself, foggy, very foggy. And it started with that, and I was able to bear it. I just pushed through it and whatnot. And then slowly My neck started getting stiff. And then again, I still didn't pay no mind because I was like thinking, oh, it's probably because I'm going to the gym and I'm pushing hard, and I'm getting this tight, tight neck and everything feeling. And then it slowly started progressing into a fever. Started feeling feverish and started feeling cold sweats, the whole nine. And it really did a number on me after the once the fever kicked in. Like it took about like a good 4 or 5 days of feeling like that with high fever, and I'm just thinking, fuck, I probably got sick, got a little flu, went to a pharmacy and got some meds, got thinking that okay, I'll just take that. Um, then it just nothing changed. Even with the meds I was taking, it just nothing changed. So I went to a clinic, and a clinic had said dengue fever, and I've never had dengue. So I'm gonna believe her. So I was like, yeah, it probably is dengue fever because I've never have had it, and I'm feeling something that I've never had felt ever before from any of my illnesses that I've had. I was like, okay, it's got to be dengue. So she assigns me some meds to take, and I take those meds, and that's still not working. Like my head is swelling up so bad, like the headache and the migraines was just so excruciating. At that point, like I would, I was getting up out of my bed maybe 3 times in the night, going into the shower and just running the hot water or running the water, not hot water, but like just room temp water or whatever on my head while I would just sit there on a chair in the shower and just letting that water drench over me just because I felt so uncomfortable. My head felt like it wanted to explode. I've never felt migraine headaches like that in my life. Like I don't even think I've really had a real headache ever in my life, like other than like being hungover or some shit. But I never felt anything like that. And it really, really scared me because I was getting up, I was getting very uncomfortable, and then my whole body, my muscles just started aching so bad. Like I couldn't even bend down to pick up something off the ground. If I were to move too quick, I'd get vertigo and then just really dizzy and woozy. Like I was just like, fuck. Felt like so much pressure and heaviness on my head too, and my brain. It was very bad, and I felt bad for my girlfriend because she's got to work in the morning, and I'm getting up every 2 hours trying to move around and being uncomfortable, breathing hard just because it's just so uncomfortable. Um, and that's when after maybe 2 3 days of that, I was just like, I'm not sleeping well. These headaches are pretty much getting worse. Like I need to figure this the fuck out. And like the only thing I could think of is like you're not going back to no clinic. You're not just gonna go to no pharmacy and just tell the pharmacist, "Oh, I feel this, I feel this." Okay, take that. And I said I told myself the only way I can get to the bottom of what's really wrong with me is you have to go to the hospital. You have to go to the hospital and get checked. You know, and and that's what I did. Like I just couldn't take it no more, and I just got up like around 7 o'clock, put on some shoes, and just my girlfriend had to work, so I just told her I was like, she was still asleep, and I was like, listen, I'm going to the hospital. I'm not feeling well. I'm, I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted, but I'm sorry that I'm leaving you here alone right now, but I got to go to the hospital. And she's like, okay, okay. I was like, I know you have to get to work. You can't miss work. Don't worry about me. I'm gonna get myself to the hospital. And so I get to the hospital, and once I'm at the hospital, it almost seems like my my illness intensifies. Like I just start like walk. I couldn't even walk 10 feet, 15 feet without feeling like heavy migraine and wanting to stop walking. I felt very uncomfortable, very very uncomfortable. And so I get to the hospital, and they point me to where I need to go. I sign up, and she was like, okay, you filled out all the paperwork. The doctor won't be in till 9. And I was like, till 9. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is a hospital. Like, she's like, yeah, but we have you in the outpatient hospital. And like, if you want inpatient, you pay for the bed, the meals, the fucking. I was like, nah, I'm not trying to get a hotel. I just need to see a doctor and let him know, like, do run these tests. Let's get this shit going. And I was just like, I had no choice. I was irritable. I wasn't. I was about to get rude at that point. At that point, because I was so irritable. It was just so painful. But I was like, all right. I was like, do you have any place like I could lay down at least? I need to rest. It's been 2 or 3 days that I've not slept well. And luckily, what I like about the hospital, and anybody who's stuck in Phuket and needs to see, you know, a doctor, I highly recommend um, Bangkok Hospital. The treatment they gave me was crazy. It was so crazy how they treated me, because sure shit, the lady did tell me, the nurse told me, she says, yeah, I can put you in a patient room, like for now, um, and you can sleep on the bed there. I'll turn the light off for you and everything. And when 9 o'clock comes around, I'll pull you out of here and you can go see the doctor. And I was just like, man, thank you so much. Um, and not only, there was maybe 3 or 4 nurses that helped me during that time, and all of them were very, very, very understanding and very responsive. They were on it. They were just very on it, and I really appreciated that, because my experience um, in other hospitals have not been like that. They always keep you on hold. And, oh, we'll get to you when we get to you type of vibe. But here, they really, I think they can see in my face, in my eyes, that like, this dude is fucked up. So they did what they could to help me. They went beyond what they could do to help me, and I greatly appreciate it. So Bangkok Hospital in Phuket Town, Kabun Krap, Kabun Makrap. You ladies are just amazing. Even the doctor that I saw, she she narrowed everything down. She's like, okay, you took tests already for dengue, so we know it's not dengue. And that's when she went into the, like, have you been to Muay Thai training, or have you fought, or have you any of this? And she started to state that, yeah, many cases are coming from meningitis. Many meningitis cases are coming from like gyms and fights and fighters like that. And I was like, fuck, it's probably what it is. And so my buddy's girlfriend, Tamara, you're fucking spot on. Big respect, because it dawned on me at first, I'm like, how the hell did I get this? But like I said, I was so discombobulated in my head, and just everything was just so confusing. It felt like for me, felt hazy and dreamy, that like I stopped trying to think about how I got it, because it even hurt to think about something, like it hurt. My whole head would just want, I couldn't even wear this hat. I wore this hat to the hospital, and then after a while I had to take the hat off because it just felt constricting on my head. That's how bad it was. And yeah, so I see the first doctor, and she does these tests. She's like, well, it seems like it could be a possible, bacterial meningitis. But the only way we can know for sure is I have to refer you to what is it, neurologist, or anesthesiologist, or some shit like that. And I was like, okay. She's like, are you willing to do that? And I was like, you know what? I'm willing to do anything right now to get myself feeling better, you know. And she's like, okay. She referred me, and she's like, okay, the uh, price is going to be this XYZ. And I just told her, I was like, look, I can't afford it. I can't afford to do that. Like, I don't know what. And she left. She didn't tell me this, but at first, initially, I was supposed to put down like a big X amount of a big deposit, right? And then I just told her I couldn't do that. And then she left and came back to the office, and then she had a different number, a much smaller number. And I was like, okay, yes, I can do it now. She's like, okay, good. She's like, because you really should be admitted to these. We should really figure out what's wrong with you. With the symptoms that you say that you have, we should really, really get to the bottom of it, because, your fever, you got a very high fever. You're very weak and fatigued, and body is aching. You should definitely find out. what you have. So we xed out dengue, we've xed out the flu, we've xed out COVID, even took another COVID test. And so finally, I was like, I thank that doctor, that first doctor, that lady, like, she helped me out. She knew I needed the help and I couldn't afford it. And she adjusted some numbers, I guess, and was able to make me, able to allow me to continue finding out what was wrong with me. Um, so after that, another kind nurse escorts me to the neurologist. And even there at the neurologist, the doctor herself, she was very, very, very good and professional and very pretty. Beautiful woman. Um, but she was very professional. Even her explaining to me in English, you know, what the symptoms I had and everything. We communicated perfectly fine. And she did a great job with communicating and really solving my issues. And so what we went down to, it got down to doing a CT scan at first. So yeah, I had to lay down on the bed and go through that whole little ring thing, and they checked my brain because my big fear was because the fact that my head was so swollen, and the pain was coming from my temples and the back of my neck and not my forehead. That my mind was telling me like, fuck, you got brain hemorrhaging, or you have like blood leaking into your brain, or something from your spine to your brain, is something's fucked up, Steve. Because I couldn't even look left to right, like keeping my head straight and then looking left to right, like one of those police fucking things where they follow my finger. Doing that, looking left to right, was so excruciating. Like it hurt my brain to even do that. It was so painful. And they wanted me to look down, like point my head down. I could only point my head down to this far before the pain and all the fucking stiffness kicks in. And I couldn't, that's not, that's as far as I can go. And so she says, okay, let's do the CT scan, make sure there's nothing wrong with, you know, your top. It's like, okay, we do the CT scan and come back, man. She put it up on the screen, the scan, and like my brain is perfectly fine. Like I was looking, I was like, damn, that's a beautiful brain. My brain is good. And there's no hints of any problems or damage to my brain at all. And I was just like, okay, thank God. Like it's not as bad as I thought, but these fever and these migraines and headaches, it's still killing me. It's still keeping me up at night, and again, my body was still aching, cold sweats, just all bad. All right. And she goes, okay, so we know now that the pain that you're having in your head is not caused from like brain damage. And I was like, thank God. And she's like, so you probably have a lot of pressure buildup in your head, a lot of fluid built up, like, and it should be drained. And I was like, okay, cool. Because even when I would cough, like just normal. I didn't have like a cough, like a flu cough or anything. Just like common coughing, you just and like that. I would feel my temples like bam, bam, like firecrackers going off every time I would cough. And it was so painful. It would kick up the migraines again. It was just so unbearable. And she's like, yeah, so it might just be the fact that the bacterial meningitis is causing fluid to build up in your body, and it can't release itself. You know. Uh, so what we're gonna do is called what did she call it? A lumbar puncture. And basically, what it was is I had to lay on the table, lay on the bed in fetal position on my side, so my whole spine, the ridge of my spine, is visible, and then they stick a needle into the lower part of my back and drain fluid. You know. Um, oh, and before that, they drew blood from both arms. I had like 2 shots on both arms, and they filled up like a tube of it, like a giant tube of like that full of my blood. And I was just like, damn, you guys are taking a lot of blood, you know? And it was really dark blood. But I asked her, I go, Pocatina, like, is it normal? And she's like, yes, yes, no worry. Dark blood, this is normal. This is normal. I was like, okay, thank you. And that's good to know. So they already draw blood. So they're running tests on that. And that's still being like checked out right now. Um, but what they did was they stuck a needle after that. The second one, the neurologist, she stuck the needle in my back and drained fluid out of my back. And it was so fucking wild how much relief I felt almost instantly. I mean, yeah, it instantly felt relief. And she pulled out like a vial. I don't know, like maybe like a vial like that, or maybe like that, and maybe like as round as a $50 maybe. And it's full of fluid, it's full of liquid. And she explained to me too that like the amount of fluid you should all everybody has fluid in their back, in their spine, but the amount of fluid should be max, at max should be 20 mils. This is what she's explaining to me. So I could be wrong. Doctors, type people, let me know what she was really trying to say. But she said at max, it should be at when it's full, it should be at 20 mils, your spine. But my spine had 35 mils. So I was 15 milliliters over the cup being full, basically. And that's where all the pressure was coming from, and it couldn't get released, you know. So she drew all that out, drew it all the way back to 15. So I'm not full at 20. I'm right now at 15. I asked her, why don't you just go down further? But also, like, the lower in fluid that your spine has, the more susceptible, you are to other shit, So you had to keep it like at a right balance. So she took just maybe 5 extra mils off. So what is that? Like 20 mils. They drew 20 mils of fluid out of my back. And yeah, I felt instant relief. And then finally getting proper medication, knowing exactly what I need to take, you know, it it was just a blessing how everything went down, because everything went basically smoothly for me. Everything went right for me there at the hospital. Like I was helped. I got attention. I had the longest part of it was just me waiting to see the neurologist. When I got to the neurologist office, I had waited there. So I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's those loud motorbikes going fast again. Um, but yeah, like I had waited there at the office for quite some time. It was getting to be a little bit unsettling, but luckily, right at the point where you're ready to like fuck this, I gotta say something, or they find out, Steve, can you come in the back? I was like, thank goodness. Um, but even that lady, I want to thank that doctor as well, the neurologist, because I wasn't even thinking about it until I spoke to my family, and my dad told me, he goes, bro, that shit is fucking no joke, Steve. Like, them fucking around with your spine, being that close to your spine, bro, you could have fucking died. You could have been paralyzed for life if she had not done it correctly. And it, it's very life threatening sometimes if it's not done correctly. So I just want to thank that doctor for just having the most gentlest of hands, and knowing what she's doing, and having confidence in herself to really get into the right areas and drain my spine fluid. I thank her and her staff, because they were all very professional. And at that point, people, even my family, even asked me like, "Dude, weren't you scared? Weren't you scared that they're gonna fucking put a needle in your back?" Like, but I had told them like I was in so much pain that whatever you're gonna do, just do it. Just do what you got to do to get me to feel better. I didn't give a damn. I did not give a damn. Like all she told me, she's like, we're gonna give you a lumbar puncture, and it is basically just gonna relieve a lot of pressure off of you. So basically, what I was thinking, it was just pulling the plug or popping a hole in a tire, just letting it. That's what my brain is thinking. So I was like, yeah, do that. Fucking do that now, you know? And that's all I was thinking about. I wasn't thinking about what could have gone wrong, or what, you know, what the side effects could have been if it was done wrong, or anything like that. I was just praying, not even praying, but I was just hoping for just to get some relief at that point. And finally, I got some relief. It was so good too, because she was like, it's gonna take maybe like 1 to 2 hours to get the results back from this fluid, and to see like what's really going on, and you can just chill here in the room. And finally, at that point, I stayed in the room, and I'm able to sleep now. I was able to sleep. I laid there with my head feeling so much better, and just sense of relief, like fucking, me, emotional as fuck. I started crying because I was so grateful that like that pain is gone. That pain was so excruciating, man. That shit was. I know some of my friends have already heard this because I've told them, but I felt like a slow death, like just dying slowly, little by little. Shit just started breaking down, like like everything, my aching, my body, like it was just so unbearable, so unbearable. I just cannot believe how I was able to endure that pain for that long without medication or out seeing a doctor like a fucking idiot. um, but yeah, after the 2 hours, she was like, you know what? The fluid is good. Good. We're just running the test now on your blood test. Um, you just were very swollen, and your cup was overflowed with too much spinal fluid. We drained that, and now we're running the blood test on your meningitis. And that's when they came back with like telling me too that like you pretty much like she's gonna do the lab or the blood test results. She's gonna run the test, but she's like, you pretty much, yeah, you have bacterial meningitis. She like already knew it. Like, yeah, this is what the blood's gonna come back. It's gonna say that you have bacterial meningitis. And I was like, okay, like at least I know what I have now. I can take the proper medication. I can finally fucking rest and sleep. And that was just, man, made me just even more grateful again. Like, and I kind of feel like God was just giving me, making a way for me to take a rest, to take a break. Because you know me, guys, I'll push myself. I'll push and push and push. I won't give a damn. I don't get tired, you know? I'll push. And God is just telling me, I don't know when to rest. I don't know any better. I just know to keep going. There's something inside me that tells me you're a little bitch if you don't do it. So I do it every time. And it gave me this break, gave me this time to reflect. It gave me this time to really focus on the things that are most important to me. And that's just my happiness, my family, and my well being, and the people that I love, my loved ones. That's what matters the most to me now. Like, of course, we have dreams and we have goals and everything, but we cannot, you know, on that ride there, you got to make sure your car is running properly, because you don't know how long you got to drive until you reach that destination. So you got to take care of that car. And I think that's what God is doing to me now, is just like, take your break, bro. Take your break, reflect, enjoy yourself a little bit while you're healing. Do something that's going to make you happy other than the gym, and go ahead and indulge a little bit. And when it comes back to being 100%, we're going to get back on that horse and just keep pushing. And I see it. I see it. It's God giving me a chance, giving me a reason to slow down, because I wouldn't take this break on my own. No way in hell will I take this break. 7 days break. I would never take 7 days off. But God had to do something so drastic like this for me to listen, for me to slow down. It's crazy. Like, I don't know why I'm like that. I'm just relentless, But I know now, I understand now that God's given me this time and this moment to really just enjoy, enjoy myself right now. You know, I have to always be going hard 24/7. That's how I am. I push. I'm not. I tell myself I ain't gonna rest until I reach where I'm going. And then even then, I probably won't rest too long, and I'll just keep on going. Uh, but I thank God for making me strong, making me healthy, because it's easier for me to fight this meningitis, because I'm so healthy. The doctor said, like, you're not like you're not fucked up. Like, you're very healthy. You eat the right foods. Your brain is very fucking clear. You're not overweight. You're not fucking. You're full bill of health. So that makes it a lot easier for me to fight this, I guess, along with the medication. And I'm just so grateful for that. I could just keep going. I mean, I'm still dealing with the meningitis now because I can still feel like a little bit of the headaches and and the neck pain and a little bit of confusion from time to time. A little bit of fog from time to time. So I know I'm not 100%, but the whole fever and the body aching, that seems to subside, other than slight pain in my back. But of course, that's from the from them pulling the fluid out of my back. I'm going to be a little bit tender there, so I totally understand that. And that just made me yeah, like I said, it made me realize, allowed me to reflect. And I really am grateful. I really am grateful to be here still, because I even got messages from friends back home in the States saying, yo, my mom's in the ER right now, bro. She has the same thing, meningitis, and she's fighting for her life right now, bro. So my prayers go to you. And hearing stuff like that, it's like, it's crazy, because that could have been me. I could have been really, really bad. Could have been really, really bad had I not taken care of myself the way that I do, and and attract something so fatal that I could have checked out. Especially being like that for days and not going to see a doctor, not to see a professionalist. Uh, I'm just, fuck. I'm lucky. I'm lucky. And it's crazy because, like, my girlfriend, of course, she's Thai. She doesn't really understand the extent of how, like, fatal it could have been. She was just like, "Oh, you sick? Like, you headache? Temperature high? Okay, take medicine and bye." But, like, the doctor explained to her, like, "Listen, like, we could have lost him. Like, he could have been gone for sure." Now, kind of woke her up a little bit. But man, it was just a crazy experience. Just another experience that I learned from life. It's wild. It's a wild feeling. Um, but to everybody who's out there who wished me a rapid recovery, and took time to message me, and really wrote to me from the bottom of their hearts, man, I thank you guys so much. I know I mentioned this before, but, like, because I'm so hard on myself, to hear, I feel like a lot of times, like, nobody cares. Nobody cares about you, and a lot of times in life, nobody will, like, no, life ain't gonna care about you. But I felt like getting those responses from everybody reaching out from all over the world too, man. Like, it means the world to me. It really means the world to me. It really does. And I thank every single one of you reaching out, my family being there for me, my friends. I have friends who care about me, you know. And I love all you guys. I love all you guys to death for sure. And just thank you guys so much. And now I'm just counting down the days, taking my medicine like I'm supposed to. Going to see the doctor again on Sunday for another checkup. And just seeing how I'm feeling. And then hopefully she could really give me the clear and say, all right, on this specific day, you're able to fucking go do what you got to do, you know? Because, like, outside my window right now, when you open up my window, it's one giant soccer or football field, soccer field, one giant soccer field with a running track around it. And what do I love to do the most, man? I love running. I love being out there running. So I'm just stuck in my room looking at my window, seeing all these people running and jogging. And I feel like well, people who have dogs. I feel like when your dog is on the couch and he's just looking out the window, like daydreaming, like wishing he could, you know. That's how I feel. Like I'm outside, I see people run. I'm like, fuck, I want to run with them. I want to run. Uh, but I'm gonna stay cool. I'm gonna stay in the couch, stay in the bed. You know, educate myself with some knowledge somehow on YouTube or something. Teach myself some stuff. Um, yeah, and like I said, just count the days until I'm ready to hit the gym and hit the track again. I'm not done. I'm nowhere near feeling done at all, at all, at all. And so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep on going, you know. And I hope you guys all hang in there with me the whole way through because we're gonna reach the top. We're gonna reach the top for sure. It's already been written. It's already in stone. You know, I just got to go find that stone. You know, so yeah, I'll probably be making another episode for you guys once I'm back to 100% and after the getting after the gym for a few more days, and then I'll come back and make another video of my progress and whatnot, and hopefully we can get a little bit more into fitness and kettlebells because I miss this thing so much. This thing really I grew an attachment to these kettlebells. It's so funny, but it's so true because I can do push-ups, I can do jumping jacks, I can lift weights, I can do pull-ups, but I won't feel happy unless I put a kettlebell in my hand and spend 15, 20 minutes of exertion on that kettlebell, you know? It's like my new drug, my new addiction. But yeah, I guess we're gonna conclude this one today, you guys, and thank you guys for clicking on the video and watching all the way through if you have. And I appreciate every one of you guys. And like I said, once I get back on track again, get back to more fitness things instead of me almost dying all the time. All right, so you guys take care from the bottom of my heart. Love you guys. Kapung kap, sawadi kap. Praise God, man.